Today we are going to discuss how to deploy a neural network app, and here you can see the user interface of the flower classification neural network app. And here you can see there is one button through which you can select the image of a flower. So if we click on it, the download folder, let us consider we take, say, tulip flower. Select it, and after selecting, it will show that flower image first. And then there is one predict button. If you click on it, it will predict this particular flower. So here you can see it is predicting that this image most likely belongs to tulip with a 95.79% confidence. Okay, so the probability is also giving of this particular flower. So this is the image. This is the app that we are going to see how we can build this app. Okay. So let us start with the coding of the model first. So it's a neural network model that we have prepared. That's why we have used the Google Colab to train our model. And after that, we'll save that model in HDF5 extension. And then in the VS Code, with that saved file, and we are going to use to create our Streamlit app. Okay. So let us first see that how to create the model very quickly. So initially you have to import all these libraries, and many of the libraries are known to you. Here you can see one library which is Pill, which is basically the Pillow library used for different kinds of image related operations. Anyway, so let us first see that from the Keras dataset, we have taken this flower data, that is the flower photos data, and the extension you can see that means it's a zip file. So first of all, from this particular URL, we are going to download this particular zip file, and for that what we are importing this particular pathlib is the library file that we have to import, and then within dataset underscore URL we are giving the URL where from we are basically going to download, and then we are creating data underscore dir, and within that data underscore dir what we are giving this command, you see tf.keras, and this is basically the command. You see that utils.get underscore file. So utils.get underscore file, here you have to give the name of that particular folder, that in our case is the flower underscore photos, and with this you have to also give the URL. Okay, so where from you are basically downloading. So here you can see the origin is equal to dataset underscore URL, where we have actually saved the original location or the URL. And finally you see that untar is equal to true. So this is basically the command used for unzipping that particular folder. Okay, so finally within data underscore dir, what we are writing is that pathlib.path of the data underscore dir. So if we execute that, you will find that it is going to download the all the folders, that all the folders and the files that is present will be downloaded. Now after that, so everything is now there within data underscore dir. So data within data underscore dir, basically you have all the flower photos in different folders based on their names. Okay, so here you see, first of all you have to see that how many images are there. So for that what we are doing is that image underscore count, within that variable what we are doing, we are finding out the length. Length means that how many are there basically, and what we are writing here the list, and that list is basically data underscore dir. What is data underscore dir? We know the whole directory where the everything has been saved, data underscore dir, and then we are using this command dot glob, and dot glob is basically kind of picking something which is specified within this function from that directory. So what we want to see here, we see that within colon we have given a star slash star. So what is the meaning of star slash star? The first star indicates the name of the folders that is present, and the second one indicates the content of that folder. Okay, so the first one is the name of the folder, and the second one indicates the content, because within a particular folder there are many files. Okay, so what we want to count all the files within all the folders. So we actually want to know total how many flower images are there, considering all the folders that is present within that data underscore dir. Okay, so then finally, if we want to see that what is the image count, if you print the image count, you can see it is giving 3670. So around 3670 flower images are there. Now, suppose out of those images, we want to see that all the folders, the folder that contains all the images of roses. Actually, in this particular data set, there are 5 folders present within this data underscore dir. Total 5 folders are present, and this each folder corresponding to different classes of flowers. So one is rose, another one is daisy, another one is sunflower, another one is tulip, like that. Total 5 different folders are there, and within each folder there are files, images of those particular name. So first of all, we want to create roses. This is a name given, and within that we want to create this list, and within that list, how can we create that list that contains all the images of rose? So for that, what we are writing within the list is the data underscore dir, that is the whole thing, dot glob. What we want to pick out of them, you see the name of the folder that we have given, that is the roses, then slash star. Star means all the contents of that folder, but here we have mentioned the specific folder name, that is roses slash star. Okay, so then what will happen, all the images of rose will be the contents of this list that is created, and the name of the list we have given roses. Now if you want to see the first image of that list that we have just created, roses, then you will be able to see. But remember, this is basically the path that you are going to see. Remember, everything is basically the path, the data underscore dir or everything is basically the path. But if you want to see the image, for that you have to use either OpenCV function or the pillow function. So here with the help of pillow function, we can see that pil.image.open, and then you just convert this roses 0, that means that particular image path, into string, and then you can open it. Okay, so what you have to do, basically the path you have to first convert it into string. Here you can see we have printed the roses, what is there in rose 0. You can see within roses 0, the first element of the roses list is basically this one. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to make it a string, and after that you can use this particular command, that pil.image.open. Then you will be able to see that particular image here that you can see here. So after observing this thing, we have understood that how can we extract something, how they are saved, how to access them. Then we have to train, and basically we want to train and validation dataset creation. Okay, so what is the command for that? Initially what we have done, we have given the name image underscore height and image underscore width as 180, 180. That means these two variables contain, each of them contains 180. And batch size we have given a name 32. Okay. Then training dataset, to create the training dataset, you have to remember this thing. This is very, very important. See, we have given a particular name, say train underscore ds, and this is what is the function that we have used. See, tf.keras tf.keras.preprocessing.image underscore dataset from underscore directory. Okay, so if you have this kind of folders and within the folders the images, then if you want to create the training data from that, then this is basically the command that you have to use. And what are the different parameters of this function? You see that within parentheses all the parameters are given. So first parameter that you have to give the source. What is the source of this directory? And you know the source is a data underscore dir, where all the contents are there, right? So this is the first parameter that you have to pass, then comma, and then you have to give the validation speed. It is like a train test split you have done, that what percentage will be the validation and what percent will be the training. So validation split is basically the 20% that is mentioned here. And this is the important subset you are giving the name training. Okay, so that is why it is basically the train underscore ds. Okay, so subset you are writing training, and seed you have written 123, and it is kind of creating the random numbers. As you know that in case of machine learning we have seen kind of random number for the splitting. What will be the random numbers that we are generating? That means the splitting definitely will be kind of a random, right? What fraction will be there? So otherwise every time when you'll run, you will take a different random set for the training and the testing. So here seed is doing the same thing, like the random say some value 1, 2, 3 that has been written, so that it becomes fixed all the time. It's not going to vary now. Then image size is you have to mention that what should be the image size, because a training data set may have the different images having different size. So it is very important to keep all of them will have should have the same size, and we want to make it 180, 180. That is why this variables are storing this value 180. So 180, 180 is the image size, and the batch size we have given as batch size. Okay, so batch size already is basically 32. Okay, so batch size actually plays a role, like all the flower data sets are not actually trained at the same time, so it actually trained with small batches. Okay, so here the 32 is considered as the batch size. Now here you can see that if you do or if you execute, it will show that total 3670 files belonging to 5 classes that is there within data underscore dir, but using 2936 files for training. Okay, so this is what is there. Similarly, for the validation dataset or the test dataset, you can see the similar command actually written. Only difference is that subset is equal to now validation. Okay, so if subset is equal to validation, so here you can see that total 734 files are taken for the validation. Okay, so splitting has been done. So after that, you can see the classes and the sample visualization to see that what are the different classes. Okay, there may be many classes present here. In our case, only 5, but there may be many classes. So in that case, it is also required some time to see all these classes. And for that, the command that you have to remember, it is basically the after creating the training dataset that we have given the name train underscore ds, then dot class underscore names. So dot class underscore names is basically the command by which by this method you will be able to see the class underscore names. Okay, so here you can see within this list all the classes are there. Now here you see that so now after that to visualize some sample data, that is also very important, just to see the different sample data using matplotlib. Here you can see image underscore batch and a label underscore batch. So in this way, what is actually done is basically from the training data set, you see that we have given the name train underscore ds. From the training data set, by the iter function and the next function, it is one by one, it is taken. Okay, so the technique is basically from the train underscore ds, the iter function call a particular image, and then through the next function it goes to the another image, and in this way basically one by one the data is loaded. and you can see that the image batch and the label batch, these are the two things which are basically saved from this particular function. Okay, so this is basically a thing that you have to remember. There are many ways by which you can actually store it. This is one of the technique. Then you can use the matplotlib pyplot. So plt.figure, and then figure size you mention 10,10. Remember, this is not the image size. This is basically the figure size. That means how you want to display it. Okay, so the figure size is given 10,10, and for I in range 9, so that means the total 9 images it is going to take from 0 to 8. It will take the different values, and for the I, and here you see that it is shown in the form of a subplot, and subplot will be what you see, that 3,3. 3,3 means horizontally there will be 3 and vertically there will be 3. So total 9 images will be displayed in this way. So that is why 3 by 3. And then after that, what will be written, that is that particular image, its location. Okay, so I plus 1, when I will take the value 0, this I plus 1 is basically the first image. Okay, then the second image go in the next position. So the position actually indicates through this variable in the subplot. And this is the basically the command, that plt.imshow, and then you give that particular image batch I that actually stored here. If you remember that image batch, the different values. So the 0th value first will store here. So image batch 0 it will take. Then what you have to do, then you have to use this numpy and as type unit 8. Okay, so using unsigned integer 8. So this is basically the transformation that you have to make so that you can visualize that particular figure. And label, already in the label batch it has been stored, so simply give the name variable label, and that is basically contain the label batch corresponding to that figure which is in the 0 position. So initially I will be 0, then 1, then 2, like that. Okay, and finally you just use the title, and in the title you see that class underscore names, because within class underscore names you know that all the different classes are there, and here label is written within that list. That means that which particular index you want to know, the corresponding figure. Okay, the label, or 0, 1, 2 label is basically like that. Then plt.axis off, so axis will not show in the figure, so you will be able to see this kind of a figure where the different categories has been shown. So this is about the visualization. Now the model making part. So that is very straightforward. The number of classes are basically 5 here. Then you have created using the sequential. You see that the convolution layers, how many convolution layers you can see, 1, 2, 3 convolution layers. Then flatten, and then the dense layer that has been used, fully dense layer, and finally you see the output layer where number of classes is the number of nodes that is present. Okay, so there will be 5 nodes, so that is why num underscore classes is written, and the activation function softmax is used there at the output, and in other cases it is ReLU. Okay, so finally the model.compile, you use the optimizer Adam, and the here loss function has been used as the sparse categorical cross entropy. Okay, and the matrix is accuracy. So then you just run the epochs by this one, and if you want to see the validation accuracy also, then you can write validation underscore data val underscore. So after that you will see that all the epochs is going to run, and your model will be trained. At the end of the training, so what you have to do, you have to save the model. So this is the command that you have to write to save the model, and if you do this, then the model will be saved. You give the proper path. So this you have to give the proper path if you want to save it within the My Drive, then you have to give the proper path, and at the end this particular name will be there. Okay, so then it will be saved. So in this way, I have run this one and I have saved it within My Drive. I downloaded it in my local machine, and then using this particular file .hdf5 file, that is basically contain all the weights and biases of that neural network model. Okay, we need not to train every time when we are running the app, so we only require this particular file. Exactly similar what you have done in case of a machine learning model by the pickle file. So in case of neural network model, it is .hdf5 file. Okay, so now we'll go to the Visual Studio Code. So here you can see that we have opened this particular folder, flower classification, and within that folder we have another folder named flower validation. Basically within flower validation we have few flower images to check finally our app. And then you see that we have created this app.py. This is the main file for the app preparation. And the most importantly, you see that this HDF5 file that we have created in the Colab notebook, that we have actually kept within this particular folder. Okay, flower classification folder. So actually model.py is no longer required. You can also run it from VS Code also, but we have run it in Google Colab. It's better to use the GPU there. Now you see app.py. Now here again you see that the important libraries that you have to load, and then you see that the first it is better you just mention this, what is this class underscore names. So class underscore name, that list we have first created, that we have already seen. Then you see that we have mentioned that at st.cache and allow underscore output underscore mutation is equal to true. That means when we are running the app, every time we do not want to execute everything. So when once it is run, some of the important thing that will be in the cache memory, so that when the next time you are running, it will take from there. So it will not take longer time. So for that, this particular command is to be done. Then we have given a very small function just to load the model. So basically this one line that you also know that how to load the model, that tf.keras.models.load underscore model and give the model name. So here in this current folder, this model HDF5 is there. So I have just written that model name. Okay, so if we call this load underscore model function, then it will basically return this model. Okay, so and within this model, basically our model will be there. Okay, after that, you see that with st.spinner, model is being loaded. This will be the command that is be shown when the model will be loaded. Okay, and model is equal to load model. So already we have given this name model. Then basically it will execute this function load underscore model, and within load underscore model, you know, basically the model is there. After that, we have just written a very small HTML thing so that we can give the name of the app. Here we have given the name of the app as the flower classification neural network app, and that we have given it some background color, we have given some padding. Okay, so we have aligned it at the center and all that. So that we have given the name HTML underscore temp within triple quote. Then st.markdown. See, the markdown is basically a kind of text styling, that's all. So within that styling, we have passed this particular HTML underscore TMP, and we have written unsafe underscore allow HTML is equal to true. Then what we are doing is that we have given the name file, and within file, we have written that the st.file underscore uploader, and here we have given the please upload a file, this particular message, and we have mentioned the type. So in the type, you can also give other type like PNG and all that along with JPG. So I have only kept it JPG, but you can also give it along with that. Simply pass within that list. That's all. Okay, nothing else. I have considered only one element in the list. You can pass many elements. Then import CVT, CV2, and from PIL import image and image ops. And here you see that the set option, it is important that depreciation dot show file uploader encoding, comma false. Otherwise, there is a chance that deprecation error may be there. So this warning may come, and to avoid it, basically this particular line that you have to write. Okay. Then we have defined the import and predict this particular function. You see that def import underscore and underscore predict, and it will take two things. One is the image data, another one is the model. So what this particular function is doing, the size that has been defined as 180 and image is equal to image ops dot fit image data size and image dot NTLES. NTLES basically when you are resizing the image, here you see that the new image that you are trying to predict, that may be of different size, right? So what we are doing, we are basically resizing that image to 180 because we have trained our model with that, and we want that to be resized. That is why this is done. But in resizing, there is a chance that the aspect ratio might change of the thing. So that is why this particular thing is taking care of that, so that the aspect ratio of this image is not going to change. Okay. Then image is equal to np.asArray image, that you have to first you have to convert into the array format, that image. And after that, what you have to do, this is very important, that cv2 dot cvt color, that you can see. And this is basically a very important command that is used to convert into RGB image. So the image generally, when you are using both OpenCV and the Pillow function, then there is a chance. In case of OpenCV, basically they are work with the BGR format. Okay, BGR means blue, green, red format. On the other hand, Pillow function works on RGB format. But ultimately, if you want to show the image, everything should be RGB. So it is very important to confirm that finally whatever operation you have done, it should be in the RGB, and for that this command is very, very important. So that is why even if it is a BGR, it is required to be converted into RGB. So for that, this image. Third one, here you see that image underscore reshape, that is going to add, you can see np.new axis. np.new axis is nothing else, just adding extra dimension in the array. Okay, so with this array basically consisting of many dimensions, you know that it may be the maybe the size like 180, 180, 3. Okay, so there are many dimensions present within that image. So along with that, one extra dimension that is added by np.new axis. Okay, nothing else, only the extra dimension that is added. And prediction, within prediction, what we are doing is that model.predict, and then you give this, or after all this formatting, the image reshape. So that image reshape you have to pass in the predict function. So, and then it will return the prediction. So in this way, this particular function is going to predict if the image data is given and the model that is specified. Okay. So now if we write this particular conditional function, see if the file is none, that means if you do not select any file, it will prompt that st.text, you see that please upload an image file. Else what it will do, it will create image that is equal to image.open file. It will open that particular file, and then st.image, then image comma use underscore column underscore width is equal to true. So it will create that image with the proper column width that is there within the particular image. That is very important. If st dot button predict, that means if now after showing the image, if you click on the predict button, then it is going to predict. So here you can see the predictions is another variable where you basically pass this particular function we have just created, import and predict, and you pass the image and model. Okay, and then from these predictions, what we are going to do, you see that you have to convert it into array, NP array, that you can see by prediction 0, the first element, that is the 0th element corresponding to index 0, that is basically the score, and this score actually give you all the data. That means what are the probabilities of each of the classes. Okay, it will give you all the probabilities of each of the classes. Okay, so then what you are going to do is that you finally, in a title format, you just write that this image is most likely belong to this, and within that variable is specified here, and with this percentage of confidence. Okay, so the second variable is written there. So what is the first variable? The first variable is class underscore names, and class underscore names means you know that particular list, and in that list which element you want to predict, that is going to give the maximum probability. So to get the maximum probability that is there for each of the classes, the score, so what we are doing, argmax is basically return the value of the index corresponding to the maximum probability. Okay, so if the maximum probability corresponding say maximum probability is 0.97 of a particular class, so 0.97, if it is a classes are there within the score variable is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, so there are 5 classes, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will just return the index corresponding to the highest class, the argmax. And if you want to know the probability, in that case it is the only max. Okay, so argmax will return the index and max will return that particular probability, that is the maximum value. And so class names, and in that list if you see what is the index, so it will return the corresponding name. Okay, because this is basically the indicating the element of that particular list. So in this way you will be able to predict. Now let us try to execute this particular thing. Okay, so let me execute it first. Okay, now Streamlit app.py. So now if we want to predict this one, the daisy flower, so it's 100% confident. If you just let's take the sunflower. Okay, if we click on predict, you see that 75.57% confidence it is a sunflower. Okay, so this is the app that we have created in Streamlit.